When you are walking with Jesus, He will resurrect your dream if it's from Him. And that is today's Morning Moxie. Welcome to the Morning Moxie Show. I am your host, Alicia Sharp, and today is Testimony Tuesday, and we have Lisa Harper sharing her story of adoption with her daughter, Missy. And she goes through her whole story and how God just moved on her heart to adopt a child and how God opened the door at just the right time. This is an interview, again, with 700 Club, Terry Mewson. Here it is.
Well, you may not know this, but the word happy is mentioned 37 times in the Old Testament and 48 in the New. God wants us to be happy. And for author Lisa Harper, happy is defined by one simple word, Missy. Take a look.
In 2012, Missy's birth mom died of AIDS and infected Missy with a deadly virus. But that didn't stop author Lisa Harper from adopting her. After a difficult 2-year journey, Lisa finally brought home Missy from Haiti to Tennessee.
When I got the call, you can come get her, and I was like, how, like I was ready to, run to Haiti. I couldn't sleep. I was so excited. I danced in my house.
In her latest book, The Sacrament of Happy, Lisa shares the joy of being a first-time mom and offers some simple biblical truths about the pursuit of happiness.
Please welcome to the 700 Club the author of The Sacrament of Happy, Lisa Harper. It's so good to have you here.
Oh, Terry, we are so tickled to be here.
Your story is so precious. You actually started the adoption process in your life when you were 40.
I did.
And then you kind of you put it aside for a while. Why?
I did put it aside. Well, there was a woman in church, actually, who I told a few girls to pray for me. I know y'all don't do this in Virginia, or your 700 Clubbers don't, but sometimes in Tennessee, women disguise gossip as prayer request. And so I thought, I'm not going to tell a ton of people. I'll just tell the girls in my small group that I'm praying about this. I'm not sure if God has definitively called me to adopt a child, to be more involved, but I just felt Him stirring my heart around the issue of adoption. And 3 of the girls in my small group basically said, we've got your back. We will pray with you and for you. One said, I'd really like to process this with you further. Can you meet at Starbucks later in the week? So I met her for coffee. I always tease and say, if an angry-looking woman tells you she has a word for you and you need to play dumb and take a friend, because sometimes those words may or may not be from the Lord. But anyway, this woman told me, she said, Lisa, I do not think you're a good candidate for motherhood. She said, you have shared with our small group that there was sexual molestation in your background. And she said, I know you've been to Christian counseling, but just in case you weren't fixed, you might unwittingly transfer some of the trauma you experienced onto a child.
Wow.
So she said, I don't think you're a good candidate for motherhood. I know you want to nurture something. So my encouragement to you would be to go to the Nashville Humane Society and adopt a dog because you're really good with pets. And, Terry, I should have known at that point. I'd been walking with Jesus since I was a little girl. I should have recognized this chick is just a crooked little tree. Somewhere in her background, she got so bent that she doesn't trust God at His promises anymore. And I should have recognized that, been respectful, but not heeded what she said.
But it's almost like it pokes a stick in
it does.
An old
it does.
wound.
That's exactly what it did. I always say the enemy, and I think we do ourselves such a disservice when we caricaturize him as being in a Beyonce unitard with horns. He's so much more savvy than that, and crueler.
Yes.
So he will take a little bit of the truth and weave it into poison so it's palatable. I always say if the enemy said, Lisa, you're such an introvert with such a high metabolism, I'd be like, I see you. But he's just not that obvious. And so I thought, boy, that sounds right. What if I do allow the damage of my past to hurt a child? So I put my adoption papers in a file drawer.
And kind of closed your heart a little bit because God had laid that on your heart. So how did Missy come to be?
Well, 7 years after I kind of stopped the adoption process, I just began, you know how He will not let a dream die.
Yes.
If you're walking with Jesus, He will resurrect that dream if it's from Him. And I just couldn't let it go. And I ended up losing 2 domestic adoptions in my late 40s. The second one just eviscerated me. And 2 weeks after I lost that adoption, at the very last hour, a friend called and said, I was just in Haiti. while I was there, she was just there for 4 days, one of the young mamas in the village died of AIDS, didn't even know she had AIDS. And she said she left behind a 2.5-year-old who's very, very sick, and there's nobody to take her. And she said, I remembered you saying you wanted a kid nobody was standing in line for, not because I'm especially kind, but because I'm especially single. And I think every kid, best case scenario, gets a mama and a daddy.
Absolutely.
And so I said, just put me, you know, in the consideration if there's a child who doesn't have a good shot at a mom and a daddy. And she said, would you pray about her? And I said, no. I said, I've been praying about this for 30 years. Sign me up. 6 weeks later, I was in Haiti and started the process. So
wow. And it was a process. You know,
it was a long process.
I mean, we don't have time today to go into the huge story of all that entails, but I know there was adjustment when you came back. You know, there's the joy, and there's the excitement, and there's the going and getting, and there's the bringing it home, and then there's life.
And then there's life. That's right.
So it's
definitely
is life interrupting.
It is life, and I think it'll be life interrupted until Jesus comes back, you know, because it does change everything.
But I want to say that one of the reasons that it's worked so well for you is because of the concept of your book, The Sacrament of Happy. I mean, of course it's life interrupting. Of course there are challenges. All of life is full of that. But talk about The Sacrament of Happy and what your title means.
I think the biggest thing in The Sacrament of Happy that, in relation to Missy, that has just dramatically changed my life is, Terry, I knew I didn't deserve to be a mama. You know, I had served those years up to Locust on a platter. And so the fact that our God is so gracious that he just redeemed my story, I'm grateful every single day. And that really is the conduit to happiness. I know I didn't deserve this amazing kid, who, of course, I'm convinced looks just like me. And so I make a lot of mistakes. You do. We grin alike. I make a lot of mistakes in motherhood. You said it's an adjustment. I have been exhausted since I brought her home. I've gained 30 pounds from eating all her Chick-fil-A. And so it's definitely been a glorious kind of exhausting. But I'm so grateful because I can't believe I get to do this, that he's been that kind.
Well, here's the other. First of all, I want to bring Missy in because she's with you today. So, Missy, come on in and join your mom. You look so beautiful today. We are so excited to have you here.
Thank you, Miss Terry.
I just want to bring up another element because, you know, I know you know that God is your good, good father. But when God does something like this, like he's done with you and your mama, you've also gone back to Haiti and you've done something amazing there. Talk about your community gardens.
We did. We went back. We've actually been back twice this year. But I wanted to go back to her village and tell her story because she has a lot of family there. And I thought I want them to know the miracle of redemption. So we went back to Haiti and we have leased 4 acres. And we've built a garden called the Happy Grove. I know she is a worker bee, but we've built a garden that will help sustain a lot of the villagers. There's 2,000 people, many really struggle with malnutrition. So now we've got this garden that's feeding a lot of the kids so they won't go hungry like my peanut did.
Isn't that amazing? See, you guys have an ongoing legacy to your family in Haiti and a legacy that you're leaving with people here.
You have the hiccups, don't you?
Timing's everything, Missy. Your smiles do look alike, can I just say? Well, Lisa's book, I want to mention, is called The Sacrament of Happiness. What a smiling God brings to a wounded world.
That was Lisa Harper and Tara Musin of the 700 Club, and you can find that clip on YouTube if you search under Lisa Harper, We Are Called to Have Joy. You can find out more information about Lisa and her ministry at her website, lisaharper.net. Well, I hope you are encouraged today and that God has stirred your heart just to believe for even more for your life, to go out and take your mountain and to just trust God that he has great things in store for you. I hope you have a great day, and I will see you again tomorrow. God bless.